recent years?
Well, the personalized healthcare is certainly one of the major domain of the future in terms of trying to bring forward a very specific solution to very specific patient. Consequently, as any time you can go in terms of very specific patient, very specific treatment, hopefully driving significantly cost in terms of making healthcare system more efficient and more sustainable.
So the biggest development have been in oncology. Do you see it developing in other areas, such as diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases, etc.?
Yes, definitely. I think that if it started with oncology and it has made some more than significant progress, particularly in the field of companion diagnostics, they are right now looking at how can you extend in other domain, from the rare disease type situation, even in HIV, all this type of significant healthcare burden will be looked into in terms of the potential use of a solution like companion diagnostics.
So there's significant barriers at the EU level and in different member states. How will you tackle these in the years to come?
Well, we'd have to define the barriers because indeed, one could expect quite a few. I think for me the biggest barrier is every time you bring something which is significantly new and different than what you were doing before, obviously it challenges the regulation, it challenges the way this is all financed. People have often a tendency to see this as being a source of healthcare cost increase when actually it's absolutely not. It's actually a fantastic solution to contain healthcare cost. If I can know better if a treatment is going to work, or if I can know better if this type of patient can benefit more of this type of treatment or the other type of treatment, obviously at the end of the day, I will drive better management of healthcare cost.
And how can the EU support this and bring member states together to look at this in a different light and take account these benefits that the diagnostics area can bring?
Well, I think that what the EU can do is definitely drives the openness and the interest into these new technologies. The EU shall consider that, in fact, we need to look at different type of regulation, different type of consideration in how do I appraise the value of these technologies, to make sure that people understand that not because it's new, it costs more, not because it's new, it needs even more and more and more information to approve it. Let's face it, we're in the field of technologies where potentially by the time you start a study, you know what, we're already in the third generation of that same product. So I think we need to really adapt to the world of new technologies if we want to make sure that patients can benefit at the end of the day of these major advancements.
Was these legislation fit for purpose? And how do you see the direction going in terms of regulatory change to support the diagnostics environment in Europe?
I think at the end of the day, what we have to make sure is that we end up with a balanced regulation. And when I mean balanced regulation, means a regulation that, first of all, protects patients, no doubt. Make sure that what's brought out there is safe, efficacious, but that doesn't create unnecessary barriers to the development of innovation. So it's a very fine tuning of balancing the act in between regulating, but letting open enough that patient at the end of the day can benefit from significant innovations while still making sure they're safe while they're using these new technologies.
So there's many different types of stakeholders in the area. There's patients, medical professionals, healthcare planners, insurance. Is there awareness about these developments in diagnostics, or is there a need for more knowledge about the direction in the area and the benefits that this can bring to society?
In terms of information, I think there is obviously more need. I think it's critical that industries invest in informing physicians, in informing payers of the benefit of their technologies. And actually we want to do this with as much unbiased approach as possible so that the decision at the end of the day shall remain within the hand of the physicians, the payers. That's quite critical. And our role is to provide all the information necessary they need so that they can make that call.
And are the support structures in place to allow this co-decision between the medical professionals and the patients in terms of diagnostics information, the information that will come from diagnostics, so they can understand the value of this innovation?
I'm going to be a bit hard on this one, if you want, for a second. I think that the decision shall remain in the hand of the physician. The physicians are trained professionals. They know what they do. They know how to interpret the information. So at the end of the day, they need to take the decision. Now, that does not mean that they don't try to inform and discuss the decision with the patients, obviously. And we know today patients are certainly more educated than they were in the past, thanks to the various media available out there, the internet and so on. But at the end, that's a medical decision. And as a medical decision, please let the specialists take that decision.
And one last question. How can MedTech Europe support the medical professionals having better education around these new technologies and to understand the value that this will bring?
Well, it's not so much MedTech Europe. I mean, it's more the members of MedTech Europe, obviously, all the companies that belong to our trade association. But I don't think we have to do a lot on that side. I think most of the companies do understand perfectly the need to inform physicians. And the more, obviously, innovative is your therapy, the more they need to inform physicians, and the more they need to train physicians on these new technologies. There's a very interesting analysis. If you would look at how young physicians are being trained today, you wonder how they're going to be using the new technologies tomorrow. So I think that then industry step in and provide information, provide the training, so that the physician can best use these new technologies to the benefit of the patient in terms of solutions for their healthcare condition as well as their safety.